Hi everyone, in today's quick tip video I'm going to show you how I'm going to use my magnetic hoop to embroider a design on the bottom of this horse rug. Now I've already done it on the other side, there it is. So I'm just going to show you how I did that. So if this was a jumper or a sweatshirt or a t-shirt, I would normally fold the garment in half lengthways, make sure that the underarm seams line up, and then I would normally put that in my heat press and press a centre line. And that way, that gives me a guide for putting down my stabilisers and my printed off pattern. But this is a kind of fleece material, so I didn't want to put it in my heat press. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to just use my ruler and the frame to line this up. Now what I've already done, I've already placed some fusible cutaway stabiliser on the back, and I just used my Locklick mini heat press for this. And again, the way I did this, I made sure that this was wrong side up. I'll show you on this side. I did exactly the same on the other side. So I want the design to be in this position, and I want the bottom of the design to start 5 inches from where this binding is. So I'm just going to bring in my ruler and line that up. I'm going to count up 5 inches, which is there. I'm going to bring in my printout and I'm going to slide this under, but I'm not going to stick it down at the minute. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that line there is where the bottom of my design is going to be. So if I slide this under and centralize it with the center of the mirror and bring it down, so I need to take this up a little bit. So the bottom of my printout is on the 5-inch mark, and I've got the middle of my ruler lined up with the crosshairs on my printout. So all your software will enable you to print your design out, and they print them at full size. So this is roughly where this is going to be. Now I'm going to bring in my water soluble topper. Now I wouldn't normally use this on t-shirts or sweatshirts because I don't find it necessary, but for something like this that's fleecy, I will. So I'm just going to put my finger at the bottom of the printout. I'm going to slide this out and put that back to the 5-inch mark, and I just want to make sure that it's centered. I'm using the middle line on the ruler to line up with the center crosshair, and then I'm going to stick this down to the water soluble, and then I'm just going to get some masking tape and just put a little bit of masking tape on the water soluble to hold it onto the horse rug, just so it doesn't move around. So that's all in position now. So I'm going to turn it back over. I'm going to spray this with some repositionable spray, and I'm going to lay a piece of tearaway stabilizer over the top just for extra stability. So this is fusible cutaway that's directly touching the rug or blanket, and then this is just going to have some extra security with a piece of tearaway. So now I'm going to bring that back. I'm going to lay it all out nice and flat. I'm going to bring in my hoop, which would normally go name side down and this bump out facing me, but because I'm hooping this, I'm going to stitch this upside down in the hoop so that all this bulk isn't in the back of the machine. I need to turn it around. I'm going to slide that under, and again my hoop would normally go into the machine this way with this notch on the right hand side. I always put a mark on my hoops so I know, but again I've got to turn it round, and then I'm just going to snap it into place. So now that's all hooped and ready to go in the machine. I can remove these pieces of masking tape that was holding the plastic down because they're not needed anymore. And this is now going to go into the machine this way. So with the red mark on the right hand side, and you can see the words are upside down, and that's also a visual reminder to make sure that the words are upside down when I take this to the machine. So now hopefully you can see that the words are upside down. That bottom bit that was on the bottom of the rug is here, and all the bulk is hanging off on my table. I've got another table pushed up to my embroidery machine table to take the weight. So from here, because I've stitched it on the other side, I've already got the design on the screen, but the crosshairs don't line up. So I'm going to use the arrows on my machine to line this up, and that all looks okay. And then I'm going to trace it out to make sure that I've got enough room in this hoop. I should have, but if not, I'll just take it off and re-hoop it. So I'm going to use this icon here and trace it out. And that's back to center. So now I can lift the masking tape off my printout, and this is now ready to stitch. So I'll stitch it out. I might fast forward through this bit and then I'll show you what I do on how to remove the water soluble topper, etc. at the end. Okay, so that's finished now. I'm going to take it off the machine and I'm just going to show you now how I would tidy this up and remove the water soluble topper. Okay, so I'm going to remove the hoop and just pop the two parts on one side out of the way. I'm going to tear away as much of this water soluble topper as I can. But I'm not going to throw this away at the moment. Just going to get anything out that I can pick out easily. Then I'm just going to get a spray bottle of water and spray this over all the areas where there are still bits of the water soluble stabilizer in between the letters. Just going to let that soak in for a few minutes. Then I'm going to find a piece of the water soluble that's not been stitched on, place it over, and then I just firmly press it down into all the letters and then pull it off, and it pulls anything out. If there's anything left behind, there isn't on this one, just go in with your finger and a bit of the water soluble and re-dab it down. So now I'm going to find another bit of this water soluble stabilizer that's not been used, and I'm going to rub it down. If you can hear Ed in the background, he's walking around and huffing and puffing. Always does the same the minute I start talking to a camera. He will eventually settle down. Again, just going to pull it away. And that's it. And if you think there are any bits left over, find a bit of your water soluble topper that's not wet and just go in and dab. From here, I'm going to turn this over. And if you remember, I did a tear away and a cut away. So the first thing I'm going to remove is the tear away. And again, you know, depending on how much you clean up your designs, you could go in and pull this away from in between every single letter. I normally just try and get the big pieces, and the rest will wash away eventually anyway. And then the layer that's left behind is the fusible cutaway. So the way I do this is any areas that are not stitched on, I pull up, and then I just hold it up so that the weight of the garment, or in this case the rug, pulls the item down. And then I just get a pair of scissors and I slice. I don't cut, I start to cut, but then I just slice and that way you're not cutting into your item. So if you start to cut initially and then just let the scissors slide along, not easy to do this when you're doing it upside down, but if you cut like that and then just push your scissors, these are paper scissors, or they're what I use for cutting stabilizers, so they're not necessarily the sharpest, and that's it. That's how it looks. So I'll fold it up and I'll give you a better view of it at the end. And there it is, all completed to go with the rest of the order and back to the customer. So I hope you found that helpful. Using the magnetic frames is definitely a lot easier to embroider items these days. I will have a link directly underneath the video to where I purchase my magnetic frames from. And if you're watching this on my blog, the link will also be in the blog post. Anyway, I hope you found that helpful, and until next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.